Humans don't obsess over what's certain. We obsess over what's uncertain. What's unclear? What lives in the gray area? It's basic psychology. The unknown demands our attention far more than the known. Think about it. You don't check on the light switch you know works. You do keep fiddling with the one that flickers. That's unpredictability. It forces the brain into a loop of constant analysis. And when it comes to relationships, analysis breeds emotional involvement. When a woman can't fully figure you out, she starts to feel more, even if she doesn't consciously understand why. That's the exact moment she starts to worry. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've triggered her curiosity. You've broken the script, and when the emotional script breaks, the mind rushes to fill in the blanks. Now, unpredictability doesn't mean being erratic or emotionally immature. We're not talking about games. We're talking about depth. The kind of unpredictability that comes from being multi-dimensional, from not always responding the same way, from sometimes saying no where others say yes, from prioritizing your time, your goals, your energy, in a way that makes her realize you're not easily pinned down. Let me give you an example. You have a great conversation. It's flowing, she's laughing, you're both vibing. Most guys would feel pressure to follow up immediately, keep the momentum going. But what if you didn't? What if you let her sit in that silence for a moment? What if you allowed the experience to breathe? Gave her just enough time to start wondering what's on your mind, why you haven't texted yet, whether you're thinking about her the way she's thinking about you. You see how the absence becomes a presence. That's the paradox. Your unpredictability creates a psychological vacuum that she feels the need to fill. And in doing so, she starts thinking more about you. Not because you chased her, because you withdrew at the exact moment most men lean in. It's like jazz. The most powerful part of jazz isn't the sound, it's the pause, the space between the notes that gives the music tension, energy, and life. In the same way, emotional unpredictability is the pause that makes her lean forward and listen more closely. Now, some people might call this manipulation. I call it awareness. You're not lying. You're not misleading. You're simply choosing not to be emotionally obvious. And that decision alone shifts the dynamic in your favor. Because once a woman can predict every move you'll make, she starts making assumptions. And once she starts making assumptions, the intrigue dies. She no longer has to wonder. She knows you'll call. She knows what you'll say. She knows you'll forgive her, respond to her, show up. No matter what. It's when she stops worrying. And when she stops worrying, she stops investing. It's a slow death of desire. Unpredictability, when done right, doesn't create insecurity. It creates presence. It pulls her mind into the moment with you. It makes her ask questions instead of making assumptions. And in asking those questions, is he okay? Is he losing interest? Was it something I did? She starts forming emotional bonds rooted in curiosity, concern, and desire. That's the difference between being liked and being felt. So if you really want to make a woman worry about you, not in a toxic way, in a way that keeps her connected, engaged, and emotionally alert, then you need to become a little less predictable. Let her feel your light, and then miss it. Get close, and then let her wonder what just shifted. Don't spoon-feed your emotional landscape. Let her read between the lines, her work for the connection. Because when something is emotionally complex, it becomes psychologically compelling. And that, more than charm, more than looks, more than even love, is what keeps people coming back. Let's talk about something that most men misunderstand, and that is the value of scarcity. Not scarcity as a gimmick or a tactic, but as a deeply human principle that governs how we assign emotional worth to people, experiences, and even ourselves. You see, human brain is wired to value what feels limited, what we can't have, or what we might lose. Suddenly becomes 10 times more important. Think about luxury. What makes a diamond valuable? It's not its function. It's the illusion of rarity. It's the idea that not everyone can get it, that it must be earned, worked for, or even chased. Now translate that into relationships. If you're constantly available, always responding immediately, always saying yes, you start to become emotionally cheap. Not because you're not valuable, but because your behavior sends the message that your time, energy, presence are on tap. And when something is on tap, people stop tasting it. They just consume. On autopilot. No thought, no appreciation, no tension. This is where a lot of meaning men lose the plot. They think that by being endlessly available, they're proving their love. What they're actually doing is removing all emotional friction. And without friction, there's no spark. Without boundaries, there's no magnetism. She doesn't have to wonder about you. She doesn't have to earn anything. And the moment effort leaves the equation, investment follows it out the door. See, emotional economics works just like real economics, supply and demand. When you flood the market with your presence, constantly calling, texting, showing up, offering yourself before she's even asked, you lower your perceived value. And what's worse is, she doesn't even mean to take you for granted. It's just how the mind works. Familiarity breeds comfort, and too much comfort dulls desire. Now, I'm not saying to play cold or hard to get. That's not the point. I'm saying, become selective. Let your presence feel like a privilege. Let her notice when you're gone. Let your attention feel earned, not automatic. Because when a woman feels like she doesn't have to do anything to keep you, she stops trying because she doesn't care, but because she's not being activated. And women, just like men, need to be activated. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Everything is handed to you. You stop feeling connected to it. But when you have to reach a little, stretch a little, question a little, that's when you start investing. And that's when worry enters the picture in a healthy, self-checking way. She starts asking herself, am I showing up for him the way he shows up for me? Does he still feel seen, desired, chosen? That's when she leans in, because here's what scarcity does. It creates a vacuum, and humans are wired to fill vacuums. The moment you step back, not in anger, not in punishment, in confident self-prioritization, she feels it. And if she values you, really values you, she'll begin to recalibrate. She'll start to question the ease with which she accesses you. And in doing so, she'll worry. She'll reflect. And she'll reach. What most men miss is that being valuable doesn't mean proving yourself constantly. It means becoming a person who understands the weight of his time and energy, a man who is present when he chooses to be, but who never lets himself be consumed without intention. You can be kind. You can be loving. You can be generous. When all of that is given without discernment, it loses impact. Because women, whether they admit it or not, feel when a man has lost control of his center, when he starts orbiting around her instead of holding his own gravity. And a man without gravity is a man she cannot trust to lead, hold space, or command respect. So, if you want a woman to worry about you, not out of fear, out of deep emotional concern and desire, then you have to stop giving her everything without boundaries. You have to become the kind of man whose presence feels earned, whose silence feels meaningful, and whose availability feels intentional. That's not arrogance, value. And value, when protected, becomes power. Power not over her, but within yourself. Because at the end of the day, the man who makes a woman worry is the man who subtly reminds her, without ever needing to say it, that he is not afraid to walk away, not desperate to be chosen, and never available at the cost of his own self-respect.